there is no way of making, I don't know, 20K months from the get-go if this is nothing that you made before. Like there is a process of getting there. I don't know, like you can't get to 100K potentially in the first year. It is possible, but if you don't have this experience, if you're just building the business from scratch, give yourself some grace and time, because it will not happen over time. Because what we see a lot of times is people like, oh yeah, like I'm definitely like in 12 months I want to have like 100K on my bank account. Like, okay, so this is what you need to do in order to do that. Oh no, but like I hate marketing and sales. This is just not my thing. Like I would just put my website there and just like the people will come. I'm just like, then how do you expect to have 100K per year?
I think just to answer your question on the business, like going on that, it's like it's this process. If you're a freelancer, if you are doing something for someone, and you're basically getting employed temporarily for something, and you have a skill, and you find people who need that skill, that's already a starting point, and you're selling your services usually for hourly rates. That's one thing. If you want to have a business, it's a matter of figuring out this process and standardizing this process in a repeatable way. So every time I do this, then it triggers that, which I convert into this money. So now I just need to do more of that, improve my conversion, and then I get more money. And there's many ways I can bring people into this funnel. There's the way I can manage the funnel. There's different funnels, and in the end of that funnel comes a service that I provide for a certain amount of money that X amount of people that came through that funnel will buy. And once you have that figured out, then you can work with ads, then you can throw more money into bringing people in, because you know what's coming out on the bottom. In theory, you could step out, hire a CEO, because you have a process that's documented, and you can just teach someone, okay, just do the same process for me. And then you have passive income. You will still have to look over your business, but in theory, then you have a real business. Then you can sell a business as well. Then you want to have the Conscious Co-Creators podcast business. We have it all documented. We're making so much money. If you buy it, you can like continue it in your name. You pay us off one big sum of money, and then it's your business. And the person will be, okay, cool. I see your numbers. There's a repeatable process. I see how I can tweak some things. I can make more money than you guys could off of that. Cool, I'll buy it. But if you don't have this, if you're just a freelancer, offering some service, nobody's going to ever buy from you. You cannot really outsource that, because it's all you. You are selling you and your hours. You're not selling a process. You don't have a system.
Yes.
And that's, I think, the difference between not a business and a business.
That sounds so easy.
Does it?
Sounds. I just had like a little bit of an epiphany listening to you guys now. And I feel like a lot of the facilitators that I speak to over the time, they may be confusing their own healing period with the business. And they feel that when they have this resistance towards selling and towards like creating this business, it's because they're still in the healing period, and they're trying to maybe take the step forward to the business, but they're not yet ready to offer their service and grow a business like you described there. So yeah, what would you say to people who are kind of in that period of like self-healing, but then they want to like make money off the way that they've healed themselves, but they're not quite ready to bring it to the market, and they don't have these like sales skills, because you guys have the experience in the corporate world, so you can then translate that to this. But for some people who just were into yoga and have never like worked in that field, it's a whole new world. Like, what's a client avatar, what's all this stuff? It's so fresh to them.
I think like the main thing there, like don't discard your previous experiences, because also what I notice a lot of times is that when people are going through this healing process, it's like a complete swing, like from one side to the other side. In a sense that like, I don't know, like we've been like, oh, business and something, and now I have nothing to do with that. I don't want to do this completely. I just want to coach people. Like maybe you also hear this from people sometimes. It's like,
I had it in my whole life, in my own life.
Right? So it's like, but this is, I think, like is exactly this healing space, because you just need to realize that in order to make money, and especially if you want to make them fast, if you're in a space where you can't like afford to have this like healing period, like where will the first clients come from? Like, doesn't matter if you're like, even if you're freelancing, they will probably come from your network. But your network knows you from something before, from the skills that you had before, from the experiences you had before, right? So you have natural authority in a certain space. Like, I don't know, if marketing and sales is my background, I have a natural authority in that because people know me, they worked with me in that capacity, right? So if now I completely like swing to the other side and now I tell people like, I don't know, I gonna do shamanic journeys with them, people would be like, okay, you know, like a bit too far. Like, I don't know you, like you don't have any proven track of experience in that space. So if you want to make money fast, don't jump right away like to completely like different spectrum. Use your experiences that you have because you also acquired these skills not for no reason, right? And they can be very,
Then
very
you lose interest in the
helpful
space. What do
for
you do
you,
then?
right? To leverage them in your own business. So it's okay to gradually step out, you know, and gradually transition into
That's
something
where the
else.
healing problem is. You don't want that. You want to
Yes.
go away from that space of your past because it's gotten you pain, and you want to go to a very different place. But this very different place, you don't have authority. Like you
It's
said.
like our client, for example, like we have one client, like is absolutely amazing experience. One of the most successful entrepreneurs in his country, like the track of like, I don't know, multiple businesses, a serial entrepreneur, like millions made, right? But he was on such crazy journey of this like ups and downs, you know, like one day like Microsoft is buying my company, the next day the contract is off the table, right? And this like crazy ups and downs, they created this desire for something bigger than this everyday emotional turmoil, right? So he really went into the spirituality space, and like this is something that he loves and he wants to give to people, but people don't understand because all of his network is tech entrepreneurs who are like super practical, and like when you start talking the woo-woo stuff, you know, like it's complete disconnect. They're like, okay, like what are you talking about? So you need to find a way to combine it and speak their language because this is your network. You don't know yet people like who are like completely outside of there. You need time to grow a different network where you can be known as an expert in this new thing, right? So it's kind of like you need to balance this out, and it's like, and you can start bringing the new thing in, but just speak their language. And I think like this is sometimes the misunderstanding that people have as well.
At the same time, it is possible to go. It's just more intuitive if you play on your unfair advantages that your life experience has given you. There's a book, The Unfair Advantage, and it basically talks about the Miles framework. We don't go into this now, but it's like basically your connections you've acquired in your life. What is your network? You know, do you have lots of doctors? Maybe you want to do a business for doctors because you naturally have an easy access to lots of doctors. If you are trying to reach tech engineers but have zero tech engineers in my network, you're going to spend a lot of time first networking and building your network before something. So it's a, you don't have to play on your past, but it'll make things
But if
faster.
you want-
if you have a
yes.
long runway and you don't
Yes.
care about immediate money so much and you have
But
time
that's-
to build
but
things
that's
up,
what I mean, yeah.
you could be a coach, and yes, you can learn or something else, and you learn something new, and you can always teach someone who's someone else who wants to learn the same thing, but you already made the step and learned it. You can give that person a little bit of what you learned. That's definitely possible. But there's a difference of doing this as a professional. Oh, I'm a coach now, and I'm learning more coaching, and I'm giving people coaching, versus becoming a business owner as a coach, where you don't just become better in coaching, which if you switch to something new, it's kind of difficult because you have to get better at the new thing first. But on top of the new thing, you need to become a business owner. And that's a whole 50% skill set almost that you need to build up. And we included completely ignored and didn't want to see that side.
We spent like how much? Like I think like nearly 40K in
In
one
year
year
one.
investing in our own self-development, you know, like all the courses, like, oh, like now there's the coaching study. Now let's do like, I don't know, all the event of Tony Robbins, and let's invest in like, I don't know, like in neuroscience and I don't know, like some subconscious tools and whatnot, you know, like, oh, like now it's like, should we do somatics or should we do like hypnotherapy or whatever, right? So you think in these terms and you start investing into these skills, whilst actually what you need to invest in is your sales skills. Because this is what's going to bring you money, you know. So there is a difference of
Yes.
becoming an expert or a better expert in what you do versus building the relevant business skills.
Okay, so this brings us to the topic of sales and conscious sales as well. I feel for people in this space, or the holistic facilitator space, when it comes to sales, they have this like negative impression of what sales is. It's like a sleazy thing. It's like
Selling your
it's
soul.
selling your soul. It's like it's so negative. So I'm curious to know how do you guys view sales, and has that changed over your life period? And yeah, what are some key
Sales is
mindsets?
service.
Yeah, so like that's been a journey of falling in love with sales and actually recognizing that it is like a super crucial skill and finding my own way of doing sales, because I, like majority of people, I think in the beginning I took lots of trainings and like courses, in sales. I had all these sales scripts I had to kind of like follow on the calls with people, until I started noticing that's like when I'm in a sales script and then follow something, I'm completely out of connection with the person on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what doesn't create the sale. So reframing the sales as like, it's not looking at the person as an ATM to withdraw money. Because if I look at you this way, of course you're gonna run away from me, because like nobody likes to feel this way. Like if I just want to take your money out of you, right? And that's what I think a lot of people perceive sales is about. But actually sales and sales conversation, especially like for example for coaches, I believe that coaches should be the best salespeople in the world, because it's all about helping the person to make a decision. Is it a good decision for you? Is it the best decision for you right now to work with me or to work with my business and hire our business? So the only thing I do, I coach people on the sales call about their decision to purchase or not to purchase. So I help them to make a decision, and the decision is like might not be a yes. It might be not the best timing, it not the best decision for them right now, but I need to help them to make this decision by themselves, right? So when I reframe it and when I'm in service to help the person to make the best decision for them, there is no salesy or sleazy tactics.
And you will naturally ask a lot of questions as
Yes.
part of that, curiously, and you try to find out, you try to think even with them, is it the best? What could be the best? Is my service that I'm offering the best, or could I adapt my service to fit better to what their needs are? What's really the best way of helping this person? And what do they need right now? Where are they at right now? And you ask questions, and in a sales call, whenever I go on a rant, or I used to go, like, to just explain what we do and how cool we are, like it never works. People like, okay, thank you, I'll think about it. This is gonna be the answer, because they don't feel heard, they don't feel cared for. But if you just ask questions and you barely speak, that's the most successful sale. You barely speak. You just ask lots of questions. We had another episode on just taking lots of input, gathering intake, understanding, making questions, and then in your back of your head, based on all the input you're taking, asking questions to really care, figure out what is the right thing for the person. You can then afterwards, after so much intake, you now know how you can position your service and product in a way that actually the other person will desire it, and that it actually shows them how it can help them. But if you think, oh, it can help anyone, coaching can help anyone, and you just say your way of how it can help, maybe it's not what the word doesn't click that you use with the other person. But if the other person speaks first, you see the words, they connect, and then you use the same words again to mirror back, because they understand that word. They have a deeper meaning that they cannot explain you even